Yesterday, we got some brand new news about Project K coming out of China. Now, really, the biggest piece of information we got out of this was the pre-order in China for the Arcane set. I already did a video talking about the alternate arts that we're getting in that Arcane set. There will be an English version of that, it's just not out yet. But today I wanted to go over some other things that we've learned in the meantime, mainly because of a Chinese advertisement that went live in China. It's actually a really cool advertisement. Most of it takes place in this card shop, or obviously it's a fictional card shop, but it's all League of Legends kitted out and it looks pretty cool. There's like posters of different characters, there's the Riot logos fist bump thing in the background, and speaking of the fist bump, they seem to be making a point of the fist bump. Players are always fist bumping each other before a match starts, and I believe one of their social media posts was like, what was it? It was, get ready to fist bump your opponents or something like that. So like they seem to be leaning into the fist bump. Me and everyone else in the Project K community Discord have been talking about all these updates that we got from China. If you do decide to join us here in the Project K Discord, you can find a lot of this information in the announcements section. We're going to rework how all of this works, but it should look something like this. And yeah, you can find all of this information for yourself here. We always archive anything we find out about the game because it's important that people are able to find this information in one consolidated space. Speaking of putting all the information in one consolidated space, let's get into that information. Firstly, we now have the translated text for Heimerdinger, Caitlyn, and Warwick, which were revealed to us as full arts. Let's go over those translations, starting with Warwick. Warwick reads, when attacking, destroy all damaged enemy units here. One thing to keep in mind about all these cards that say like deal or do something to enemy units is it is specifically referring to units, meaning that legends won't be affected because there are cards that say enemy, not just enemy unit. The only card I can think of that specifically applies to is Last Breath, which is Yasuo's spell. That card explicitly says enemy as opposed to enemy unit, which means that things that say enemy unit should only be able to target units. They won't be able to target champions. So Warwick is saying specifically that he kills damaged units. He's a 6 mana card and he has 5 might. So something to keep in mind is because he's an orange card, or because he's a physical card, orange is physical. Because he's a 6 mana physical card, he works in the Volibear deck, which wants to be playing 5 might cards, and they want to be playing it before turn 4, which this can be played, they want to be playing it before the end of their turn 3. And then obviously, and if you haven't been keeping track, you get 2 mana per turn in this game, so you'll be able to play Warwick on turn 3, which means going into turn 4, you should have your 8 mana that you're looking for if you've played at least one of the 5 power cards. So Warwick, assuming there aren't just better options for you, already might just slot into Volibear decks just because he's that 5 might threshold, and he can be played before turn 4, which is like again a very important threshold. Heimerdinger is really exciting because he actually reveals something interesting about the game. Despite the fact that we can't really ascertain exactly what his text means, this Chinese translated text seems to roughly translate to all skills of other friendly legends, units, and equipment cards, and then that's like the end of the text. So it's not exactly clear what's happening here. Maybe he gives them plus damage or something like that, or maybe he makes them cost less, or I don't know. But he does something with his ally legends, units, and equipment. Equipment is a brand new card type. There are no other equipment in the game right now. We haven't seen any equipment. Of the 298 cards that are in the first set of Project K, we have not seen any equipment yet. So it will be exciting to see our first piece of equipment. Obviously, in Legends of Runeterra, equipment had a specific function. I don't expect them to function the same way here. I expect equipment to be something along the lines of, say, like an artifact or an enchantment from Magic the Gathering. But yeah, it's exciting that we got a whole new card type. Caitlyn, who's the card I'm most excited about because I'm just like a Caitlyn fan, her effect seems really strong as well. So her effect is cause damage equal to my combat power, which will be might in this game because other cards have referred to it as might. So remember, this is just a translation. It will say cause damage equal to my might to an enemy unit at any battlefield. That's pretty awesome that she has that text. It means she has a little bit of utility. She has more options in multiplayer games because in multiplayer games you play with 3 battlefields, and in 1v1 games you play with 2 battlefields. So in 1v1 she technically has like less options than she would in, say, a multiplayer game, but just the ability to deal 3 damage to something without having to be at that battlefield is pretty compelling. It's unclear again whether she can do this when she attacks, when she comes into play. I guess only time will tell. But regardless, this ability to snipe enemy units, no pun intended, because obviously Caitlyn is a sniper character, I feel like that's got to be pretty decent utility. And so I'm excited to jump in and try Caitlyn. So some unit cards from LOR have had their art pop up in Project K now. Obviously, these won't have their same card effects, and in fact, they probably won't even have the same name. But for those curious, Omenhawk, River Shaper, and Avarosan Sentry, they've all been spotted as cards in Project K. Omenhawk being an order card, River Shaper being a calm card, and a Avarosan Sentry being a mental card. There were some other cards from Runeterra that have been, their artwork has been spotted. A couple landmarks, I believe, have been spotted as battlefields. But considering that they'll all just have new names, new functions, and new identities in Project K, I didn't feel the need to investigate that much further. What I did feel the need to investigate is brand new characters being confirmed. So just in case you weren't aware, because I don't think I actually managed to cover this in a video, but there was a leaked trailer for this game quite a while ago. And in that trailer, we had Ari, who is a green-blue card, Darius, who is a red-yellow card, Misfortune, who is a orange-purple card, Lee Sin, who is a green-orange card, and Kaisa, who is a blue-red card. All of those were quote-unquote confirmed through that leaked trailer quite some time ago. We can't make out the card text, but we've actually already seen champions for these cards as well. Not their legends, but their champions for Darius, Ari, and Kaisa. So not quite all those champions we just went over, but there are some of those champions that were leaked in like a document in the past. I just thought those were worth mentioning. But also from the Chinese update that we got yesterday, there were even more champions revealed. Tryndamere was revealed, and Misfortune were revealed. Obviously, we don't know the card text of these either, but they're both Fury champions, so they'll be working in conjunction with your various Fury characters. The only Fury legends that we know of so far, so the only like Fury leaders we know of so far, are Jinx and Volibear. Vi and Jinx both have different card art in the Chinese trailer than what we saw in the English trailer. There could be a few different reasons for this. One could be that the Chinese stuff was filmed earlier than the English stuff, which wouldn't surprise me, because if you look at the Chinese trailer, they also don't have unique card backs for runes, battlefields, and your card deck. They all just have the exact same card back. So unless the Chinese set is just not going to have unique card backs, I assume that the stuff that we see in the Chinese trailer is potentially a little bit outdated. With that in mind, there is kind of like a weird convention going on with the artwork in this game. So far, what we've seen is that the Legend card is the League of Legends splash art, and then the two champion cards are the different level ups. But that is not the case for the English version of Vi and Jinx that we saw, which each have their arcane artwork. But if you look at the Chinese trailer, the versions of those cards, Vi and Jinx, have their level up art from Legends of Runeterra, just like the other champions. So yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Maybe in the English trailer we saw an arcane promo. Maybe it's like a promotional card that we'll get somewhere down the line rather than it being incomplete or something like that. But yeah, just wanted to let you know that there's something weird going on with Vi and Jinx's artwork. My current assumption is that it's either promo art or an alternate art that we saw in the English trailer, and then the default art is going to be what we saw in the Chinese trailer, but it's also just possible that there was just some incomplete art being used in the Chinese trailer or in the English trailer. Only time will tell. Dave Guskin in this Chinese trailer said that Set 1 is complete, so all the designs for Set 1 are done, and they're currently actively working on the second set of champions. He didn't say Set 2, he said the second set of champions, but I do assume he meant Set 2. We got a look at official playmats. You can see that this is two different playmats kind of smashed together, and then the battlefield zone is kind of in the middle, and that's where you'll play. I will say this looks a little bit messy, just because you don't have a ton of room to put a bunch of different battlefields in there, and then also it gets kind of awkward with like multiplayer games. Or I guess for multiplayer games, you just stack another two next to them, and it kind of does the job. Yeah, maybe it'll be fine. I do think it does probably look a little bit messy in practice when you're actually like resolving multiple things across different battlefields, and there's different cards at different battlefields. But obviously not knowing exactly how going to a battlefield and attacking at a battlefield and doing all that, not knowing how any of that works, maybe it is significantly cleaner than what I'm imagining. I will say I've been working on a tabletop simulator mod for Project K so that we're able to play the game basically as soon as we know all of the core rules. We'll be able to start jumping in and resolving games and to get some practice in before the product actually releases in our local area. When I've been setting up that mod, I've made sure to have a lot of room for locations, or I should say battlefields. And right now I'm working on getting some scripting done for that table, and then we'll be able to publicly release that even without the full rule set and without the cards. But I took inspiration for the Tabletop Simulator mod based on the card layout that they were using in this kind of official look at playmats. For whatever it's worth, we saw promotional material featuring God King Darius, and I think this is Prestige Spirit Blossom Teemo. This is promotional material specifically for Project K. I'm not sure if this means that we're going to get an alternate art Darius with God King Darius, because that would be absolutely incredible. But I think there's a chance that they just put this here because Darius is in the game. But what this at the very least does confirm, even if it's not confirming alternate arts for both God King Darius and Prestige Spirit Blossom Teemo, at the very least it's confirming Teemo. Teemo should be in the game now, but I won't go so far as to say that Teemo is indeed 100% in the base set, just because we haven't actually seen a card for him. But considering he's on this promotional material, I think there's a pretty solid chance that we're getting Teemo as one of our cards in the base set. We did get a look at a promo pack. Not too much exciting here, just there's an event going on in China. Well, at least there will be an event going on in China for people to be able to collect legends. It's these 4 legends that are shown in the graphic: Jinx, Volibear, Yasuo, and Victor. They'll receive these promo packs underneath certain conditions for whatever event that they're running, and then inside of that pack there'll be a single legend. So inside of that pack there'll be one of those 4 legends, not all 4 of them, and I believe it's just these 4 legends that can be pulled, so there's no reason to have more than 4 of these promo packs. Well, more than 4, assuming you hit the exact one you want every time. I will say, if anyone gets their hands on one of these promo packs, unless it's against some terms of service or some lore or something like that, I would absolutely pay good money for one of these. Okay, so there's also a couple game rules that we've learnt about, or potentially deconfirmed our original interpretation of them. In case you haven't been keeping up, what we've noticed throughout all of the Project K gameplay is that people start with their legend set aside, like you would imagine that they would. It's just like a leader system from a bunch of different card games. And they also start with a champion set aside, which is a card that would normally go into your deck. So almost like a commander from Magic the Gathering Commander. Very, very cool system, it sounds like. But for the first time ever in this Chinese trailer, we saw a card that I'm going to call River Shaper for now, because it's the name of the card art that's in Legends of Runeterra, but it will have a different name in Project K. For now, I'm going to refer to it as River Shaper. This Yasuo player had River Shaper set up as their kind of like partner card. Before the game had started, River Shaper was set aside with his legend, and it's even in a specific zone where you would normally have to put your partner. Now, normally you would think, okay, well, that must mean you can put units there instead of legends, because River Shaper's never going to be a legend, right? He's not someone, or he's not going to be a champion, I should say. He's not going to be a champion like Yasuo is a champion. Yasuo is a playable character in League of Legends. River Shaper is like a random generic name for a unit. So what's going on here? Well, personally, I think that this is just being resolved wrong. For some reason, throughout all of the promotional material that we had in English, and throughout all of the promotional material that we've had in Chinese, all of the promotional material has been resolving the game in a coherent way that makes sense. All of the game boards, all of the game states, they all make sense, besides all of the footage that was filmed in this kind of black room. I mean, it's a green screen room, I assume. It's a green screen room, but everything that's in this room is like resolved super wrong. Some players have like 14 mana, which as far as I'm aware is entirely impossible in Project K. Some people are like starting the game with 6 mana and their opponent's starting the game with 6 mana. There's just all kinds of inconsistencies when they were filming in this room. And this is the same room that we see the footage with River Shaper in the kind of partner slot that you would expect the champion to be in. So I'm personally just assuming that they resolved this part of the game incorrectly, and that we can just assume that, yes, you still need a champion to go there, a unit cannot go there. But who knows, maybe that'll be wrong. Just thought I would add that in there in case you hadn't seen that. But what we did get, this was not in the black room. We can ignore the black room. The black room has wrong information in it, okay? We ignore the black room. The black room, there's some magic going on there. We're retconning the black room, okay? The black room doesn't exist. During the outro of the video, where we see a little B-roll footage of people playing inside of the card shop, someone confirms a step of the game that we had been speculating about. If you've been following the channel and you've been following all the Project K speculation, you might have seen early on, we assumed that the mana symbol underneath the mana cost was related to something similar to Magic the Gathering, where in addition to paying for this cost, you have to tap a specific color to be able to get this effect, or to be able to play this card. But then we came up with a new theory. There's a little arrow that's tied to this icon, and people started to think, well, maybe that's got nothing to do with tapping, because you wouldn't really need to be visually reminded to tap your mana to be able to play for a card, because you're already tapping your mana to play for a card. You're doing that every single time you play a card, or tapping a rune, I should say, because we don't have mana in this. I believe the terminology is just going to be rune. So with that in mind, what's this arrow? Well, Mage Armor, who's helping me run the Project K community Discord, came up with the theory that if you have this icon on your card, you have to put that many mana back into your mana deck. So it's kind of lowering your max mana or your max rune count that's available to you at that given time. And I actually really liked that theory, but we never knew for certain one way or another. But during this footage, we see someone put a mana from their battlefield back onto their mana stack. So that seemingly confirms the theory that Mage Armor had, and I'm just going to move forward assuming that that is indeed how the mana works, because the theory made sense before, and now that we've seen someone actually resolve that in the card shop, I'm going to go ahead and assume that is exactly how that works. Okay, that's pretty much everything we learned from the Chinese advertisement. I hope that you learned something today. If you want to learn more about Project K, please come join us on the Project K community Discord. I leave it linked in the description in every single one of my videos, and I'm going to be trying to leave it in the comment section too. Sometimes I forget that one though. Thank you so much for watching. Keep being awesome, and I'll catch you in the next one.